Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome to another TerraTech Worlds Wednesday stream. I'm Dean Dobbs, video content creator at Payload Studios, and I'm joined by design director Kris, who I haven't set up the mic on this screen. I trust me, he's here. We're just going to switch the gameplay straight away so you can hear him. I didn't set it up. Sorry. Hi
Right.
Kris, they can hear you now.
Hear me now? Oh,
Yeah.
jolly good. Hello. Oh wow, that is a picture of me. Look
That
at that.
is. Are you okay with that one?
Yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was
I
thinking
don't have
about
any
setting
pictures
up
of
one.
me anymore.
Sorry.
Not getting to that. Yeah, never mind. It's
Oh.
not.
But yeah, thank you for joining me again and being the beacon of knowledge for this stream again.
Gosh. Yeah, all right. I'll
'Cause
try and live up to that responsibility.
you
Do
did
my
last
best.
week.
Well,
You were great
very
last
good.
week, so I'm pretty sure you can do it all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Sorry for my voice today. I've got a heavy cold. So that's why I'm calling in remote rather than being there in person with you. But yeah, I'm ready to answer some questions. I see some questions appearing in the chat at the moment. If you want to ask questions, please do. I'll try and answer as many as possible. I'm looking at the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. Are we also streaming on Steam or?
Steam is not working, unfortunately. I tried to get that to work, but
Okay, all right.
yeah.
All right, yeah. So post questions into the Twitch and YouTube chat, and I'll try and get through as many as possible.
All right, let me play a game. Here we go.
Cool.
Yeah, do you just go ahead wherever you see fit, to
All
be
right.
honest.
Nice one. All right, cool. So first question, when do I get to be in the game by Hexboy? That's a good question. For some people, for TerraTech 1, we had our Kickstarter in the early days, and some people are mentioned in the description of some of those blocks, which was a Kickstarter reward. So if you look at the descriptions of some of the blocks in TT1, you'll find mention of specific players in the community. But yeah, we haven't got a plan to do that right now, but maybe that'd be a cool thing to do later. All right, next question. Are there any plans to improve conduits, smart features, even if it's balanced by block? From Favor 6. Yes, so conduits are being worked on at the moment. I know there's lots of confusion about how they work or what's going on with them. But yeah, one of our designers is busy working on them at the moment, and one of our programs too. We should have some fixes, some updates for them coming soon, potentially as early as next week. So we'll have to see. But yeah, please bear with us on that front. I know that there are a lot of complaints about conduits at the moment. Okay, I'll try and do one. I'll try and alternate because these are from the Twitch chat. So I'll have a look at YouTube chat now as well.
You got a lot to work with.
Yeah. All right. Will there be crops in TerraTech Worlds? Yeah. So at the moment, the plants in the world don't regrow. The ore don't regrow either. That said, when we made a recent update to placing quartz in the starting area or in the other forests, we for old save games, all of the old resources were replaced, so you'd be understood for mistaking that for regrowth. But that's just basically a factor of having redone the distribution of all the scenery in the game, and so that affected old save games. But at the moment, yeah, those things don't regrow. We do want to do more agriculture as you go on, further greater automation as you go on. It usually follows in this type of game that you start out with everything being fairly manual, and then as you progress through the game, you get greater levels of automation and regeneration. So yeah, watch this space. That's definitely an area we want to expand out into in the future.
And more plants that hate us at some point, right?
Well, the other thing I want to do is be able to grow your own hazards and use them as protection around your base.
Oh,
so
that's pretty sick.
Have base attacks that really pummels and needleberries and fog plants and sorts protecting your base from enemy attack. But yeah, at the moment they don't know the difference between enemies friendly.
But we can teach them. We can tame them, domesticate them.
Yeah, get them in the lab. Um, all right. When will the next update be? So probably today. Fingers crossed. End of day today. So around 6 p.m. UK time or thereabouts. Probably maybe an hour or so earlier. Excuse me. 1 second.
Oh. No?
Sorry, just blowing my nose. I've got a terrible cold. I don't want to be too disgusting on the mic.
I'm sure they'd love it.
Yeah.
Just get as
Oh
close
God,
to it as
please.
possible, and I'll turn it right up.
All right. Yeah. So the next update should be end of day today. Yes, there are lots of stability improvements. I'll do a quick rundown of some of the things going into this update. So loads and loads of bug fixes, crash fixes, stability updates. I won't go into detail on them. In terms of balancing updates, we're reducing the reactor costs of all blocks by 20 to 30% or a single point, depending on which is greater. Increase the kickback and the knockback for a lot of weapons. Well, most projectile weapons, basically everything that's not a resource laser or a rocket laser. Increase the fuse time for the Meteor cannon, so that increases its range. Reduce the spread for the Meteor cannon, the aftershock rifle, making them more accurate. All weapons now refire continuously when the fire button is held, rather than having to be fired again, clicked again to fire them like semi-auto style. So, for example, the plasma gun required that. The missile launch, grenade launcher all required that. But now you can just hold down to continuously refire them. So I guess that's full auto, but you know, there's a fire delay. You know, your rate of fire determines that. The enemies will now take pauses when they're fighting you, so they won't fire at you continuously. They'll take pauses in firing. They don't have power or ammo limitations because they'd probably look broken if they ran out of ammo, but they won't fire at you continuously whilst you're trying to battle them. Their accuracy has also been nerfed a bit, so that they're not so lethal and overwhelming at the moment. And then your restore charge, your repair, active repair, has we've reduced the amount of time you have to hold that to trigger it. So it's gone down from 1.5 seconds to 0.75 seconds, so half that. But yeah, those are some of the changes. We've also made a lot of changes to crafting recipes. Perhaps I won't just list all of this stuff because we'll have the patch notes later, but that's some of the stuff that's going into it. Okay, so back to questions.
Actually, I have a question, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, please, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is currently in, but it's worth pointing out. Refining things like debris, you know, to create carbon and stuff. That's all gone. That's all been sped up now, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the other changes that's gone in today.
Okay.
We've reduced the time it takes to process debris. We've also reduced the recipe so that it doesn't require 60 debris to 9 carbon. It now goes, I think it's
10 debris, I think.
2? Yeah, 10 to 2, and it rather than taking 3 seconds or so, it takes 1 second to process, so that it gets through faster. We've also increased the tick rate of the conduits so that they pass things much faster, because I know that was a bit too tedious for people. But yeah, so that's one of the other changes that are going into this update, coming later today. Oh, someone says you're a little bit quiet on the mic.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, that's a first. I'm usually the loudest one.
Saying that you're not chatting as much, which probably because I'm chatting too much.
But. Yeah, sorry. I was letting Kris share the wisdom.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So someone's saying that they want to see splitters, sorters, and filters for conduits. Yeah, we will have splitters and mergers joining, along with updates for conduit behavior to sort out some of the unexpected behavior that they're exhibiting at the moment. That'll probably be, as I say, earliest it will be in the update for next week, but it might be a little bit later than that. 5th connection point for the largest silo would help mass processing. Okay, yeah, cool. That's a good suggestion. Thank you. Yeah, no, they were saying it was a mic level low for you. Okay.
I've turned it up now. It should be okay. If not, I can talk even louder. But the microphone's right here. It should be good. It's a first. Like I say, I'm usually the loudest one. So.
Someone's asking if there's going to be an update for the furnace for your tech to enter the Arctic more easily. The designers and I were literally just discussing that before the stream started in a chat, talking about the recipe. We're probably going to reduce the costs of that recipe. It probably is going to still require refined carbon and purified carbon and refined phosphorus, but in fewer amounts and maybe less refined phosphorus, and we're probably going to increase the amount of time that the pulse furnace will heat your tech for, so it's not so doesn't burn through so much fuel so quickly. Someone's asking for more murder flowers. I don't know. There's a lot of people saying that they find the amount of plants attacking them overwhelming, but it's good, you know.
I mean, they're definitely more overwhelming in like the Arctic, I would say.
Yeah, definitely in the swamp.
Oh yeah, in the swamp, of course.
Making the highlands in the swamp a bit easier. I know some players are struggling.
Oh.
All right. So more optimization. Yes, we are doing stability and optimization updates on each update. The code team are working way hard on that stuff. So yes, that's a given. Definitely in the update coming later today. At the moment, so someone's asking if there's going to be mod support. At the moment, we haven't got plans to do mod support right away. Same as TT1, we want to finish off the vanilla game, before we move on to supporting mods properly. But like TT1, I expect people will start modding anyway. So we're always all for mods, and that's it's a massive part of what keeps TerraTech 1 interesting for people. The mods that are available, but it's probably going to be a while off before we do official mod support. But that won't stop it anyway. So you'll see mod support. You'll see people making mods to begin with anyway. Will there be an Xbox client, Xbox streaming? So no word on console ports yet. You'll hear from the comms team first outside of streams before we have anything to say on that stuff. Here's a good one. Will we be able to license all the blocks we discover if we have enough? If you have the money? Yes. So you should be able to license all of the blocks. Some blocks are only licensable through completing specific missions. There is an issue, I think, with the small axle and maybe a few other blocks where you can't license it with money. But that's a bug, and so you will be able to license that block by completing the specific mission. But yeah, so we've also increased the money rewards for completing a lot of the missions, and we've reduced the costs and the exponential growth of those costs for licensing each type of block. So previously, when you licensed a common block, all other common blocks would go up in price afterwards. Now they only go up by a smaller degree. So yeah, it should be easier to license more blocks in the future as you have more money and they'll cost less to license. Okay, so there's another question here. At some point, will the game be GeForce Now, so that PCs that cannot run the game 100% can enjoy it without problems? We haven't got any plans for that yet. I don't really know people use those sorts of services that much, but it's one to think about. I'll have to ask our publishing director and see what they think of that. So sorry, can't say either way. Not sure about that.
Yeah. Sorry.
You need to be
Sorry, I'm fighting this big tag.
Sorry, I might be boob. Sorry about Okay. Try and answer some YouTube questions. I know. Go from ignoring one to ignoring another. All right. Another person in the YouTube chat asking about modding support. Yeah, so that's further down the line, definitely. As I say, we need to finish the game first before we start doing stuff like that.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead. Yeah,
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
I didn't realize that modding was such a big part of the original TerraTech, because that's like there's a lot of enthusiasm for mods for TerraTech Worlds.
Yeah.
I need to look into it.
It's huge, and we're only a studio of so many people. We can only make so much stuff, but some of those mods are crazy. Matt did an amazing rundown of some of the best mods not too long ago. Some brilliant stuff in there. There's always good stuff, mods always do all sorts of crazy stuff that we don't have time for, or don't quite fit with what we wanted to do with the game. But there's always good stuff.
Yeah, Claw 400 just said mods are the lifeblood of many games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who's that?
Be foolish not to support them, but we also have a responsibility to everyone who's bought the game in early access. Early access, the expectation is that we continue making the game and we finish it off. And so if we started doing mods at this point, I feel like that would be in conflict with that idea.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah. Okay, more questions. Will there be any plants that help the rover? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like I was saying, I want to have my base and have it protected by friendly plants which don't attack me.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go, isn't it? Especially if to grow them from seeds. I think that'd be nice.
Oh man,
water them. I want to water them.
That's speaking my language. If I'm going to be honest, like I love that idea. Yeah, it's like just love the. It's quite an unconventional way of going about it, because in these sort of sci-fi games you'd think probably like you'd build some sort of like mechanical tower, with a big turret on the top. But I like the idea that you can almost like take that idea and make it a plant instead. I think it's quite unconventional.
It reminds me of Plants vs Zombies.
Yes.
We should definitely, we'll definitely have AI turrets as well, and defenses that the player can use themselves. But yeah, plants would be a good thing to add to the mix. So someone's asking here, do different cabs have different reactor loads? That's exactly right. So the starting cabs, the Scout cab has about 220 reactor limit combined. So that's reactor limit and efficiency points. But some of the later cabs that you'll unlock later in the game go up to about 400. I think one of them's 360, and most of them go up to a 400 combined limit of efficiency points and reactor limit. So you can build much larger techs with those. In the update that's coming later on today, as I say, we've reduced the reactor costs of all blocks by 20 to 30%, or a single point, depending on which is greater. And we also have the auxiliary reactors, which are going to be coming back. They were in the demo, but they had to be taken out because they were charging fuel at the time, which was not great for people who were running out of fuel during combat and feeling the pressure of just having to maintain all that fuel all the time. So when the auxiliary reactors, which will give you more reactor limit, come back, they will instead be occupying one of your restores, one of your repair charges. So you'll have less ability to repair multiple times whilst you're out and about, but you will have more reactor limit. So that's your trade-off. And those will be rejoining again. Hopefully they'll be in the update for next week, but if not, they'll be coming in the update after that, I expect. But yeah.
Sorry, I was miles away.
I'm just muting to sneeze again. Um, will there be a sea biome? Yes. Yeah. So we've got flight and boat blocks planned for the autumn update 2024. And along with that, we've in the public roadmap, we've announced that we'll be doing building on water. But as soon as we have boat blocks in, we really need to be making sure that there's more and interesting stuff to find out at sea. So yeah, sea biome, enemy boats, enemy bases that are floating on the sea, well, not enemies, resources that can be found, perhaps on the surface of the sea, so maybe reefs. And then beyond that, much further in the future, we'll have submarine blocks, which will mean that we'll be doing deep sea or undersea biomes as well. But yeah, sea biome definitely. That's what we want. And the next question after that is asking, can we make boats or flying craft? Yeah, so that, like I say, that's autumn update. We'll have flying blocks there as well, which will be propellers and wings and helicopter blades and sorts of stuff going on. Will there be animals as well? Yeah, so a bit further in the future, we don't have that in one of our fixed updates for our public roadmap, but we do have critters listed there, which are soft body enemies, which will be fully animated and be moving around. So yeah, animals, potentially alien dinosaur-like creatures.
Can't wait, genuinely.
Yeah. Someone's on. I think it must be Cassie. Cassie's on the Payload Studios account in YouTube, which is just saying that I'm a ghost. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, Cass is our sort of resident bot when the streams are on.
Yeah.
And maybe I can add an echo to your voice and make it more ghostly.
Oh no. Halloween update.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so someone's asking about water plants in the Twitch chat. Yes, so when we do the water biome and we have boat blocks, we're going to need to put hazards in there. So I think water plants potentially. I think sea mines make a lot of sense as well to avoid in the water. But yeah. Someone's asking in Twitch, what is the base block building limit? For example, building a bridge, they had to make two separate entities that overlap with each other so the ramps can actually join. I'm not actually sure of that, so I won't say on stream. There is an upper limit to the size that you can build. It's pretty big, so he must have been making a very big bridge. I've not hit it. I've built a lot of the enemy bases that you see in the game at the moment, including one of the bridges that spans one of the I guess bays near the swamp biome. And I didn't hit the structure build limit there with that, but if you're hitting it, then perhaps we need to look at it. That structure build limit is probably to do with a tech reason why we've got it in place. It's not a design decision to have a structure build limit there. So I need to look at that. But Jester, if you could please post that in our Discord, I'd be interested to see the size of that structure that you're making, or that you've made. So Sistari is asking, do we have any plans to thin out the swarms of text that annoy you whilst traveling from A to B? Yeah, so sorry about that. As I say, in the update that's coming later today, the enemies will take pauses when they're firing at you, and they have reduced accuracy as well. So they're a little less overwhelming when you're fighting them. We will also be updating the enemy population spawning rules as we go. Ultimately, what I'd like to make it is so that it's less punishing during the day, but slightly more dangerous to go out at night, or more enemy respawns at night. But we've got a few plans around that. So for the time being, we'll just focus on balancing changes to reduce the difficulty of actually fighting individual enemies. But yeah, I see a lot of well, mixed comments about that. Some people really love all the fights that they get into. Other people find it overwhelming, understandably. But yeah. Someone's asking, can we put foundation blocks in the water? Yes, yeah, we need to adjust that as Dean's showcasing at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, you can't place structure blocks when they're submerged in the water. Definitely, that's going to change for the update where you can build on water, the autumn update. But we're probably going to have to update that before then as well. At the moment, we wanted to stop players from placing machines that are functioning under the water, because it's a bit weird if you see your fabricator doing something or your wind turbine running when it's underwater. But we probably need to make a division between functional structure blocks like that and just structural structure blocks, which are just pillars and columns and that sort of thing.
Come on, tree. You can do it.
Yeah. Someone. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Get that scene.
Yeah, I'm just yelling at this rhubarb tree. Here we go. Come on. You can do it. Hey, there we go. All right, cool.
Nice. Yeah. Any plans to drive underwater? Yeah. So we're going to do submarines. Submarines don't have a specific update that they're going into in the public roadmap, but they are listed in the more to come section. It's definitely something we want to do. There's a whole load of space underwater that we can fill up with interesting stuff to explore. But we just need to get that, basically.
I said this last week. Just don't fill it with like scary stuff.
Well, yeah.
I can't make any promises. Just in my head, I'm like, oh man, when I start making content for that, it's gonna be really stressful. I'm just scared of the underwater for some reason. That's why I never played Subnautica. Oh.
So JJ2078 is asking, any plans to have building outputs that go through the same conduits? Having 4 separate pipes all go from one scrapper to a large storage can be cumbersome. Yeah, so there's two plans along that. I may know the word for fear of underwater.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
There you go. Is that underwater or just water in general?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just things underwater. Because
Okay.
even like sunken boats freak me out. Like,
yeah,
I don't know why. Like,
I know someone else who's scared of sunken boats. Yeah. I think that's quite a common fear, isn't it?
Apparently, even though I don't know how many, I've never been around a sunken boat, so I don't know where, whilst growing up, that
Yeah.
my brain connected those two things.
I mean, to be fair, it's a bad situation. You don't want a boat to be underwater.
Oh no, I watched Titanic. They were having a great time.
Usually means trouble. Okay, yeah. So sorry, just back to the question about having outputs be able to go through conduits through the same conduit rather than 4 separate pipes. So in the update to conduits coming, a lot of that's going to be streamlined, including tying specific conduits to specific outputs on your machines. In addition to that, as many people have asked for, we will have mergers. So you will be able to ultimately connect four outputs into a single pipe that lead to wherever they're going. But yeah, I know it's a bit fiddly at the moment, to say the least. So sorry about that. Please bear with us whilst we get some improvements into the automation there. Thank you. 1 second.
I feel like I shouldn't have shared my fear of underwater. I feel like the devs are going to take advantage of that in some way.
Well, now that we know which buttons to push, be a shame not to think about that, wouldn't it?
This is why I'm never vulnerable with people.
Yeah.
Right, have I got enough of these? So I'm just trying to build a bridge. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I want to get to the swamp area. You?
So Kevin on the YouTube chat is asking, are there any plans to build permanent resources that you can gather at a slower rate? Yes, we have discussed this, like resource nodes. It would be a good end of biome objective to try and obtain the ability to get renewable resources. It's also quite a nice thing and satisfactory when you go from biomass to coal generators, because you know you have to make sure that you get water and you have a coal seam nearby, and it creates a new sort of challenge that's more location based for your power needs. So yes, it is something that we're considering. We haven't got firm plans on it, but definitely it's a way to go, and would help. As I said earlier on, usually these games go from a situation where things are a bit more manual and require more upkeep at the beginning of the game, to the point where there's more automation as you expand out to have more bases and more stuff going on in the world. You know, you can't be feeding every single thing and upkeeping every single thing. So yeah, having permanent resource nodes would be a good way to move into that sort of play, but would have to make sure that the player has to work to find them and to get them. So that involves scanning, terrain deformation, perhaps clearing out enemies in the area, for example. But yeah, it's definitely something we're considering. Okay, just looking through questions. Someone's asking about tank tracks. They'd like to see parts with angled hard points that you can connect things to. All right. Yes to tank tracks. We definitely want to add them at some point, as you know, we know how popular they are in TT1. Like with TT1, we started off with wheels this time, and we'll get out to hover pads and helicopters and planes and submarines and rockets and all sorts of other vehicles after that. But yeah, tank tracks would be a really good thing to add. Yeah. Initially, in the first demo for TerraTech 1, we thought the game would be all about building tanks. We used to call them tanks before we called them techs. So yeah, tank tracks are always important, definitely. We're starting a petition for Dean to do some kind of underwater stream for charity.
The charity's going to have to be for me, for my therapy. I will do it. Don't worry. I will be brave. Once underwater exploration comes up, don't worry. I will. It'll be a huge character development moment for me. I promise.
That's good. All right. So, question about the tractor beam having problems grabbing stuff and putting it on the take. Yeah. So there's a couple of issues with the tractor beam and the flatbed at the moment. The tractor beam really does require you to. I mean, you can use it with just the resource laser, but most of the resources in the world need to be dug up from the ground, become loose objects in order for you to get them with the tractor beam. So it does require the mining cannon to undermine a lot of the resources that you'll see in the world in order for them to cut loose, so that you can pick up with the tractor beam. If you cut a seam, then that will usually create a few loose pieces, loose fragments of resources, which you can pick up with the tractor beam. So try that out. But failing that, you may need to get to the point where the mining cannon is unlocked. Once we're a bit happier with the terrain deformation tools, we will move them earlier in the game so that you'll get access to them sooner. At the moment, they appear later in the game, or they get unlocked later in the game. And that was specifically as a kind of treat for players who got that far, because we're not, you know, we haven't had enough time to really make terrain deformation exactly how we want it to be yet. So we didn't want to just unleash that on everyone. But yeah, so that's a tip for the tractor beam. The other thing is the flatbeds. The flatbeds can be a bit fiddly, and we're going to put more work into making them much easier to use as well. So yeah, bear with us on that front. Again, that's part of that continued effort to make things manual at first, but then greater levels of automation and yield as you progress. All right.
Oh, I've crafted the wrong thing. Okay.
So another question about having adjustable game rules and modifiers being added. Yes, so once we get a bit further down the line, we will add advanced options, which allow you to choose how to set up your world a bit more. We will have a creative mode as well, which will allow you to choose some of the specific rules of how the world is set up and which limits are on or off. And so yeah, that will come. Just like with TerraTech, we will have greater levels of control over how you set the game in the future. For now, it's just one game mode for now, and we'll get to that stuff in time. As I say, we just need to finish up what we're doing in the first instance before we move on to things like
that. Payload Studios, or Cassie, asks, long-time viewer, first-time caller, can we get more cool weather things, aerial phenomena? I would love to see some shooting stars and meteors.
Yeah, I want to do shooting stars and meteors too. I'd really like to have the enemies mainly respawn at night and have them appear in the planetfall style from the first game, where they fall in from the sky. I think it'd be
right.
If at night time only you saw basically what looked like meteor showers, and then when you went to investigate them, some of them are, nice treasures and treats, like resources, and some of them are enemies. I think that'd be good.
Oh, it's like wishing on a shooting star kind of thing. Like when it shows up, you can be like, oh, I hope it's got this maybe, or, I like that idea. Ooh.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Bridge done. Chat, clap.
Hey.
Did it.
You got it.
Finally, right. And now let's see how long I can last in the swamp. It's not going to be very long. Oh.
No, it's looking good, man.
Thanks.
All right, more questions. Let's have a look. So, question here. It seems like players require too much consumables such as carbon for power and heater fuel. Can we get more sustainable options that won't require much grind? Yeah, so in each of the balance updates that's gone out so far, we're trying to address the grind as much as possible. I know that has been hot topic for a lot of people. So in the update last week, we had a whole load of grind changes to address the grind, to reduce it, and we've got more this time as well. So in this update that's going out later on today, I'll just get the notes. So as we're talking about, reduce the debris to carbon recipe in the refinery down from 60 debris from 9 carbon down to 10 for 2 carbon, and decrease the time from 3 to 1 second, so you can make more carbon quickly out of debris. We're also increasing the fragmenter yield up from 1.5 to 2. So the fragmenter will yield double what you'd get for it if you're harvesting it perfectly on the ground. The tick rate transfer speeds for conduits have been sped up from 1 second per tick to 0.25 seconds, so 75% faster. And so that means that when you're feeding debris into a refinery to make carbon, or carbon into a refinery to make refined carbon, and then into your generators, you will have them, you can do that much faster. It's a much smoother process. We also reduced the cost for the medium silo and the large silos. Stack sizes for all resources, or raw resources, have gone from 30 to 60, so you can hold more raw resources, and that includes holding them in things like the generator. We also reduced the cargo slot sizes for some structures and blocks as well. But yeah, so we will continue to address the grind. As I was saying earlier on, we're currently looking at the recipe for heated fuel right now, and so that's being discussed in a designer chat right now. And yeah, basically keep posting on Discord, keep letting us know where you're getting to with some of this stuff in on Steam forums as well, and we'll keep reading that, and we'll keep responding to it as we go.
Someone called Relikes in the Twitch chat has just said, is it bad I'm starting to be able to recognize people's locations based on the landmarks around them? I know this exact part of the swamp biome. I mean, that just means you've committed a lot of time, which is not a bad thing. So I'm also super familiar. There's you might have a bit of a delay on this one, Kris, but this one area I always remember for some reason, because it's got this big sort of cavern and just these two trees, and the way it's like sort of they've been placed, they look like the two most important trees in the world for some reason.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. Yeah, but I remember that they just look so important for some reason. Not saying there's anything there, but
so that cliff wall is a bit of an experiment.
Oh really? Okay.
Rain is kind of this height map thing where it's all just fades from one height to another, but having that cliff wall there, that's manually placed. There's a few other cliff walls as well, and it looks more like you can't just drive up there, basically. So we're sort of experimenting with it.
Oh, you can't drive up there?
Well, you can, probably, depending on the strength of your wheels, but the grammar in a lot of games is that if it's rough stone like that, then that's a surface which you're not supposed to drive up.
Yeah, that makes I can't do it. I can get about about halfway.
I'll try and still ride a horse up a vertical slope, but yeah, so that's one of the things about that specific area. But yeah. Okay. Any more questions? I'm sure I'm missing loads. I must have missed loads on Twitch. Let me see if I can get back to where I was before. Yeah, so someone's asking if there are any plans to make more missions. They have to start over to get more currency and buy more blocks. Yeah, absolutely. We're adding more missions. More missions are coming. Resource delivery missions are coming in the next update. Same with defeat enemy missions. We'll also be adding enemy base missions and defeat boss missions and other mission types to go. So we're trying to keep a good variety of stuff in there. But yeah, we were sort of surprised at how far people got through those resource delivery missions, because I felt like those would last for a little while, but people seem to smash through them quite quickly. So we've added a whole load of new ones, which should be in the update coming later today. But yeah, if you're running out of money, the money does continue from one game to another, so you can still do that as well.
What's the money called again?
Script.
I love the name. Oh, got these swamp techs. They are plated.
So someone else is asking, are there any plans to make your base influence tech spawns around your base? or trigger raids, making future-based defense worthwhile. Yeah, so yes to both of them. We, at the moment, placing down a tech yard, a claimed tech yard, does not stop enemy spawns or respawns in the area. It should and will do at some point. We'll get that change in. Then beyond that, once we've had a bit of time to make sure that it's a good system that's not going to upset people or frustrate people, we also want to do base defense or enemy attacks on your bases. Getting that right is really key, because if we get it wrong and enemies just come along, they're too difficult, they stomp all over your base and destroy it, and it's really horrible. That will obviously make people want to quit. So we've got to make sure that it's the right level of attack where it's fun and interesting to defend your base from attacks without it being too punishing. So that's why we will spend a bit longer on that stuff rather than just throw something in there. So yeah. Someone else is asking if there's going to be planes, are we going to be able to drop bombs? Yes, absolutely. So we have the bomb weapon in the first game. I built the bomb command mission in that game as well. I love flying planes around and dropping bombs on enemies. We're also going to have flying enemies in this game, so you can have flying dogfights, which would be great. We never really had that in the first game. I think some people wanted it, but yeah, we didn't officially add it. Might be something that team still do. I don't know. Yeah, definitely have aerial combat.
Someone, I think, might have already asked this, but who knows? Someone says, have you thought about resource selling as well as more missions? I guess that's two questions, actually.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, so I don't know if I want to do that, because it's sort of, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. My worry about that is that it just means that the game becomes about just finding the path of least resistance to just farming money.
Yes.
Which is tricky, because as soon as people find the easiest way to do that, then we're faced with the decision of either leaving it in and accepting that money is now free for people who find that, or nerfing it and upsetting those people and forcing them to go find something else, the next easiest way to farm money. So it's a bit tricky. It is kind of neater for us to have objectives be the primary way that that rewards are earned, that money is earned, because then we can also present a range of objectives and encourage people to do a bit of combat, and then do a bit of resource gathering and harvesting, and then explore this area and find that thing, or find this boss, or whatever. We can kind of keep the game varied in terms of that stuff. But I know that's not what some people want. Some people do just want to farm money. So it's tricky. Always tricky.
Ooh. Yeah, game dev is tricky. That's the main thing.
So someone's asking, don't know if it's been asked, will there ever be server options to disable terrain manipulation tools so people don't end up accidentally ruining the map, especially on a community dedicated server? Yeah, that totally makes sense for a community server. As we lean further into the terrain deformation tools and gameplay that surrounds it, you may find that that's not what you want, because once terrain deformation is a bigger part of the game, or more players are expected to have access to it earlier in the game, we're going to start hiding resources under the ground. We're going to start making more stuff reliant on that stuff and expecting you to have access to it. So if you switch it off for a dedicated server, that will probably cause you other problems. Imagine having a Minecraft server where you can't destroy any blocks at all. It limits you to certain types of play, right? Or for a PvP server or something, maybe that's okay, but it does rule out some parts of the game. Uh, a flatbed's going to get looked at. Yes, yeah, we've got improvements for them planned. Yeah, they're super fiddly at the moment. Sorry about
If I, yeah, okay. What about money rewards for taking insignias and finding crash sites of spoilers? I guess
that.
I
Yeah,
won't read that last bit.
definitely. That's definitely stuff to go in either the combat for insignias or the exploration track. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I've got one for me. It says, I know you mostly do video stuff, but have you tried your hand at any coding yourself? I have. It was very difficult. So my dreams of being a game dev were crushed pretty quickly. So now I'm living my video game dream by proxy at Payload Studios, and it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah. Someone's asking here, will you be able to hide the tech menu? Yes, yeah. So our UI person, our UI artist, is working on that right now. He's got this plan where it slides in and out depending on whether or not you need it. I know that how much those UI elements occupy the screen is annoying for some people, especially when they're trying to build their bases, for example. So yeah, we have got a plan for that. Someone's getting griefed about calling it terrain deformation rather than deformation. That's just my enunciation. I'm just a commoner.
Just a comment.
Yeah,
You go, I don't know every word.
yeah.
So wait, what?
Esteemed peasant. So
Wait, what's so it's defamation and what was the
it's
other
a
word?
definition. To defame is like it's to oh golly, now I've
Let's
got
make it
fuck
go.
deformation. Deformation is to deform the terrain, to change the form of the terrain, right?
Got you.
Defamation is like that's like slander, isn't it? To defame someone.
Oh, gotcha. Right. To defame. Um, yeah, I'm not sure how you'd actually do that. You could say bad things about hills, I suppose, but
I
yes.
mean, yeah, you could. I think you got to be careful doing terrain deformation because planets are big, and if you upset them, you're in trouble.
But then all the plants come after you. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's the law reason. Maybe,
Probably you're calling that grass ugly or something.
yeah, which it isn't. Art team's done a great job. Um, so we've got a couple more minutes if you want to
Yeah,
address
yeah,
any
yeah.
last minute ones.
I think 1 more minute. All right,
Yeah,
yeah. Let's
one more minute. Yeah,
pick more. Oh my gosh, there's so many questions
it doesn't
here.
have to be one more minute. Don't worry.
So
I've
yeah, well, thanks everyone who's asked questions. Sorry, I haven't managed to get through more. I never do. Um, please do come back again for the next stream, and we'll answer more questions again. Um, uh, but yeah, let's finish with the last question. Thought about drone control, having drones around your base to collect and gather specific resources, perhaps to aid in their defense. Yeah, so that sounds totally cool. Um, as I was saying again earlier in the stream, as we start out, the expectation is that you do a lot of these things at your base manually, and then gradually you move to higher levels of automation. So the ability to set up drone receivers or drone bases, which could go out within a certain area and harvest some resources and bring it back to your base, sounds like a really cool thing. We don't have firm plans for it yet, but I can definitely see us going that way in the future, further down the line. But yeah, all right. Well, thank you. Thanks for all your questions. Thanks for
yeah.
tolerating my waffling.
It's informative waffling though.
Ugh, I don't know that. We'll see.
I thought it was.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be the least confident one. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. We're gonna go over to the hello screen. There you go. They should be able to hear you this time, Kris, so you can say bye. But yeah, so thank you so much for all your questions. It's crazy that there's so many of them and we can't get through them, but that's a good problem to have. Come join us next time. We'll give out another day. I mean, next stream is Friday, but I don't know if we'll have a developer on. We'll let you know. You check out the Discord and all the socials and stuff like that. Yes. Yeah, Kris, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom.
Thanks for having me. Sorry about my voice. Yeah, looking forward to answering more questions soon. So yeah, let's get all these booked in.
All right. See you later, guys.
Nice one.
Bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.